Hi and welcome from your ITC Geeks. My name's Trapper Hallam, and today I'm going to show you how quick, easy, and powerful performance matters can be for your exams, tests, and quizzes. Yeah, I said quick and easy. I know what you're thinking. Quick and easy are two terms that you usually don't associate with performance matters. But I'm here to tell you that you can, and it is. Now, I know that there's lots of ways that you can do your exams this year. But Performance Matters offers you some features that you can't get anywhere else. I'd like to start by saying the term lockdown browser. Yes, Performance Matters has a lockdown browser built in. What is a lockdown browser, you ask? Well, that's easy. A lockdown browser creates a secure window for your test. And when the students start that test and enter that secure window, nothing else on the computer can be clicked. That means no more worrying about screenshots, no more worrying about students chatting, no more worrying about students going on a browser to search for answers. Yeah, it's very powerful. While it doesn't prevent all forms of cheating, it does provide you a very secure environment to help alleviate some of the common types of cheating that you may be seeing now, not using a lockdown browser while testing online. The second benefit for using Performance Matters, specifically for exams or tests, I guess, if you're using standards, which you will be for the exams, and you have to turn them in, there's a nice chart, a standards distribution chart that you can quickly and easily share with your admin and or the district to turn in your alignment with the blueprint or your curriculum blueprint, showing that you've met whatever ratios that they're looking for. This is really easily done in Performance Matters, plus all of your data is directly in there. So it makes finding and accessing that much quicker and easier. You don't have to do that for the exams, but if they needed to or if you wanted to, you could use it. And lastly, and probably my favorite, this is an online test. So when you give your exam, it's online in that secure lockdown browser. The answer keys right here. You don't have to make your tests in Performance Matters. You just upload your existing test. You don't need bubble sheets. No more printing bubble sheets, no more sorting bubble sheets, no more scanning bubble sheets, no more waiting for bubble sheets to process and get your information. Because it's online, the results are almost immediate and you get to bypass that whole process. Awesome. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to cover everything from accessing Performance Matters to creating a test, to turning it into an AKO, entering your answer key, setting it to your curriculum standards, uploading an answer key for later use if you'd like, uploading your student test version for the one that the students will see, setting up your properties for your test, setting up your administration properties for your test, including the lockdown browser. We'll preview the test and show you how to do that. We'll also show you how to administer it in the Student Administration OLA, and we will take a look at the analytics. And additionally and finally, we will show you what it looks like on the student side, because that's also super easy and I wanted you to see it. Okay, if you're going to use this video to set up Performance Matters for your exam this year for the district, you're going to want to grab a few things before we start the video. So go ahead and click pause and then go find your test or make your test, your answer key so that you have that ready, and then your curriculum blueprint that shows you the standards that you need to align it to, because we're going to need those to put it into Performance Matters when we get there. All right, so I'll give you a minute to do that. Once you have, go ahead and click play, and let's check out the rest of the video. Okay, now that you got your stuff and you're ready to go, I want to start by showing you what this is going to look like, just a quick overview before we get into the details, so that you know what we're going to end up with. So let's go ahead and navigate over to Performance Matters. You don't have to do this yet because we're not building it, so you can just watch. So I'm going to go over to Performance Matters. Here I am. I'm in my testing center, and I can see here that I've got my ITC Geeks demo test set up ready to go. So I'm going to click on that so you can see what that looks like. So you can see here, it loads up, and what we should have then is this environment. And this is where we set up our new test at. So before we get into the details of that, you can see kind of the things that we have to do, right? We'll set up the type of test. We'll shrink this just a little bit. This answer sets, we'll put in the answer key. We've got the standards here, which is super important for exams. And then most importantly, and we'll go through the properties and administration, let's see what the test looks like. Now I've already uploaded an answer key for later reference, just for teachers, and I've uploaded a student version of the test so that that's what they see when they go into this. I'm not typing answers into Performance Matters. You can, that'll be a different video, but for this video, it's an AKO, or an answer key only test. I know, I hate all the acronyms, but answer key only is a mouthful. So for this test, I'm gonna click Test Preview and show you what it looks like. So we're gonna go in there, OLA Test Preview, and it should load for us rather quickly. And we can see it here, click Resume, and you can see we go into the regular Start menu, and we're gonna click Next. You can see I've put in a message for my students at the beginning of mine. You can give special instructions, or you can leave that part off. Again, let's go ahead and start this test. And what you'll notice is that here's a little mock test. Again, only 3 questions, just to demo what we're gonna do. And you can see over here your answer keys. So all I did was in Performance Matters was put in the answer key and upload this test. This shows to all your students when they go in here. This is an online test, and this is what it looks like. It's straightforward. They don't have to download it. They don't have to leave this window. This is the secure testing window. They can't leave it. They're stuck here. It's fantastic. It prevents so many forms of cheating that you don't have to worry about now, right? That you can now just monitor it like you would normally in your classroom. All right, let's jump into the first part where we're gonna go ahead and look at how to navigate in here and create our new test. Okay, this is part 1, and in part 1, I'm gonna show you how to get the Performance Matters if you forgot, because I might have already once. All right, we're gonna jump into ClassLink. You can see I've got ClassLink open here, and you should find your Unified Classroom or PowerSchool option right here. We're gonna go ahead and click on that. And when we click on it, it should launch Unified Classroom for us. Once we're in here, I like to go to Quick Links down here, and I like to go up to the Power Teacher Portal Home. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that. And that's going to open up my PowerSchool. Now from there, I'm gonna close this because it was already open, but you would navigate to the top, and you're gonna see this little launching icon up here. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that, and it should open up the link to Performance Matters. So now I'm gonna click that, and it should launch me right into my Performance Matters dashboard. And you can see that's where I've landed. All right, in the next part, I'm gonna show you how to go over and create a new test. Okay, from our dashboard, we're gonna go up to the top here, and we're gonna find the option that says Test. When I click on it, it's gonna give me a few options here to choose. I'm gonna choose New Test because I know that's what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and click New Test. That's gonna load, and it's gonna bring me into that window that I showed you just a minute ago. All right, and we're gonna set this up so that it's an AKO, or an answer key only. That's probably the first thing I'm gonna click up here in the top right. See how it's turned off right now? That if you don't turn it on, it's gonna be looking for test questions either from the banks that exist or ones that you create, and that's not anything in this video. So we're strictly gonna stick to an AKO. So I'm gonna click this on. And it's gonna ask me how many questions I'm gonna have on my test. Since I've already got my test as a PDF or a Word document, I can see how many questions I've got on there. I'm gonna type that in here. For my example, I have 3, just to keep it short and sweet. So I'm gonna type in 3. You do have some options here to change the types of number sets. This is not the video for that. That will come in a different video. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it as A, B, C, D. If you have an E, choose an E. If you need a few more, you can choose those as well. We'll keep that part pretty simple. So I'm gonna click OK. And it's gonna go ahead and build those questions right here in this window for me. So now it's starting to take some shape. One of the first things I wanna do is decide if I wanna put a label for my questions. If you don't, it's gonna take the item number. So it's gonna say 1-1 or 1-2. If you want those to be just single digits, you can type 1 and then go down to the next one and type 2 and type 3. That's just preference. If you have 100 questions, maybe you don't do it. If you have 3, maybe you do. That's up to you. So item weight, if you decide you wanna change any of that, that's there. Generally, I keep all mine 1 point apiece to keep it relatively even. But if you'd like to change that, that is an option. All right, it is a multiple choice item. I set that up at the beginning. It is an A, B, C, D type of question, but here's where I can change these if I decide I need a different type of question to go with my test. Okay, over here into the answer rubric, I'm gonna type in my answers. Now at this point, I'm gonna reference my answer key. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that up. We'll open that. And as you can see here, here's my answer key. I just kind of highlighted the ones that are the correct answer. Just some very generic typed up questions for this purpose. You can see it should be B, D, and C. That's what I should be working with. So I'm going to come in here, and my first answer is going to be B. My next answer is going to be C, and my last answer is going to be D. When you do this, it isn't tab friendly, so that doesn't work so well. You actually do have to click in each box and then select the corresponding answer, letter for the answer. Now, I'm going to set this up in terms of a math test, okay, because I'm more familiar with those standards. So in Performance Matters here, I know that I can click into the standards alignment. Now this is where you're going to want your blueprint, because that's going to have your standards of the questions that you want to do. Or you've already put them onto your test so you know what each test question happens to be. However you set it up, these need to correspond if you're doing this for your exam. If you're doing it for a test or quiz, this is optional. But if you're doing it for an exam, make sure that you attach this to the appropriate standard. Again, hopefully identified from your blueprint. That's going to be important for later when we go ahead and submit this to the district, because it's going to give us a snapshot of the percentages of the questions we ask per standard. So to do that, in this part, and you've been in here before, so this is somewhat familiar. I'm going to type in here CCSS, because that's the starting part of my string. And then I'm going to put dot, and then I'm going to put math. And that's going to, you can see how the menu changes as I do that, right? So now I've got these strands kind of popped up in here. And I know that there's a whole bunch. So this is more than I need, because it's all of math CCSS standards. I just need the ones for algebra. So I'm going to type content. And then I'm going to put a dot. And then I'm going to put HSA. And that in Performance Matters, I happen to explore it beforehand. And you can see here that HSA is going to stand for high school algebra. And then the standards that I'm familiar with, you can see are kind of on the end of that. Whoops, I just lost that whole piece. Okay, so now I've typed in that whole string, and I can grab this little bar on the side, and if I scroll down, I can see all of the standards that I'm familiar with, right? So these here, this .CED, CEDA, CEDA1, these are going to correspond to the power standards the district asks you to assign to your exam. And so I'm going to match these with the question from my test, because I have both sitting in front of me, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on those. Before I click on it, though, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to scroll back. And this is important. It's going to save you some time. I'm going to hit Control-C here, because I'm going to copy that string. Then I'm going to choose my standard that goes with it, okay? Because I have to click on the standard. Now, when I go down to this box again, instead of retyping all of that, I'm going to hit Control-V. And the reason for that is it's going to go automatically right to those standards again. And then I can go right to the part of the standard that I need. So this time it's going to be in REIA2, let's say. So I click that, and then I go down to my third questions for mine. I'm going to click that string in there again. It's going to pop up with those standards one more time for me. And I'm going to pick one more in here. We'll do a SSEA1. All right, now I've aligned all my standards. This may take you a minute, so go ahead and pause the video if you're doing this with me. But now you should have your answer keys in. We've kind of set up our test with all of our questions, and we've aligned it to our standard. We're doing great. Okay, now we've got our test kind of created and set up. We've got a couple things to do. One, let's upload our answer key for later reference, just in case we need to match something or to double check if we found something wrong. You could always leave it on your desk or on your OneDrive, but it's right here at this point, and we can always download and reference it right from Performance Matters. And if you wanted to share it with someone, they also get it that way. It's a little quicker and easier. All right, so to add the answer key, we're going to have to throw in a title so that we can save the test at this point, and then it'll give us the option to upload that answer key. So I'm going to come over here and give this a title. I'm going to say ITC exam demo, and then I'm going to say please delete. All right, I'm not going to add a description or anything else. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. So up at the top now that it's saved, you can see that we have a couple different options. One specifically that we like is printing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on printing, and I'm going to come down here and say Upload PDF. Now this is a PDF of the answer key only. The students will never have access to this, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. It should pop me open with a dialog box where I can navigate to my answer key. So I'm going to go ahead and click Choose File. And you can see here that it already went to my file location. You might have to navigate to yours, and I'm going to choose the one that says answer key. So I'm going to double click that. It's going to put the name in here. It abbreviates it a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and say make default view. And I'm going to upload the PDF. And you can see that's already set up now. And I'm going to click OK. So that's our answer key attached to our test. But let's upload the student test at this point, so the version that the students are going to see when they open the test. So I'm going to come over here to test format, and you can see that it pops open. It's a nice large dialog box, and in here I can do some section instructions if I like, or I can add a stop message. So, make sure you do your best. You can add anything you want right here. And then I'm going to say congratulations down here, you finished your test. And then I'm going to come down to the bottom, and right here there's an option that says reference sheet or test booklet for answer key only test. So I'm going to click that, and this is going to allow me to upload that document so the students can see it. Now you don't have to do this part. You could physically hand out the paper copy. That's your choice. But I choose to do all of this online. I don't have to make copies, and I've got a lockdown browser, so I don't have to worry about this getting out. So I click that box. I'm going to click File at this point, and I'm going to click Upload File. So again, it should open up a box for me to navigate to, and you can see that here. It should accept a PDF and or a Word document. I'm going to go ahead and add the PDF just for ease, and that's going to be this option right here. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click Open, and that should upload that file. Okay. Now, once that's done, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to click OK. Now, we've created our test. We've got our answer keys. We've aligned our standards. We've added our answer key document for later reference. We've added the student document for reference during the test. We're doing really good. We should probably click Save at some point so we don't lose any of the information that we've set up so far. So let's click Save. Okay, now it's time to set up our properties and our administration tabs so that this test can go live and we're ready to move on to the next phase. So in here, we've already named it. You can change that name at this point. Also add a description. So you can see I added a description here to delete this for later use. Now I need to choose a category. For this one, I'm setting up an exam. If you weren't, you could choose any of these, but I'm going to go ahead and choose midterm or final exam. Okay, now that that's chosen, I can restrict items results from the portal. So if I don't want the students to see their results right away, which in my case I generally don't, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. If you don't mind that they see it, if you have a straight score, or you're not going to modify anything, then maybe you go ahead and share that with them. Or maybe you do it on a non-exam. All right, so course type is super important. This is tied to your PowerSchool, to your ClassLink. It's all tied together through Schoology and everything. So in here, it should have only your course types available. I'm going to choose the class that this one represents, which is going to be sociology. From there, you're going to click in here and choose the levels. Again, this should be limited to the courses that you picked here under course type. So this is only an 11th or 12th grade class. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's for both of them. So I'm going to click back in the box and add the 12th grade as well. Your performance band, that's your grading scale. I generally leave that on district exam all the time. If you have a different grading scale or you set one up yourself, again, not in this video that we talk about that, but if you have, you can add that here as well. Now, the interesting part down here, and the part that we've alluded to a few times in this video, is that this is the standards distribution. This is going to show you all of the standards that are on your exam and the distribution of those questions. I have 3 different standards, so each one's going to represent 33% of this particular exam. But if you built yours from the blueprint, these percentages should match what the district is asking you to represent. And this is the part that you can share with them quickly and easily. So that's a really nice feature. It makes your life that much easier. So now that we've got that set up, our properties are all done. Let's jump over to administration. There's a few boxes that we have to check. So in here, this will be a private test. So no one can see this test besides you. And I'd recommend that you leave it private, especially for an exam. Again, there's a lot of power within Performance Matters. And in a different video, we can talk about how to share tests, but not here. So I don't care about the baseball card for this particular exam. I'm probably not going to use it, but you can turn on show baseball card if you like. All right. Would I like to restrict access to download the test? Yes, I don't want anybody downloading the test or my answer key, so I'm going to turn that one on. All right, my window, I'm going to choose the window here by clicking on this dark black box so that I can identify when my testing window is. By default, it's set up for a month from the day that you create the test into the corresponding next month. But you'd want to modify that to be in the window of your testing window. Now, with that said, if you don't have it open on the day that you're creating the test or today, like on this one, it says, October 25th, you'll have to click an extra button to find your test when we go to look for it in the test center. If the testing window isn't open, you can't see it immediately in your testing center. But we can say show all tests, even ones that aren't in their testing window, and you can find it there. So just be aware of that. If you don't leave your window open, you won't see it as quickly as I do here. So I'm going to leave this date through the next date, so November 25th for this video. So I'm going to say that looks good. So I'm going to apply that. I'm going to come down here to scan sheets. I told you this is an online test, so we're not using bubble sheets. So I'm going to turn this off. If you choose to use bubble sheets, if you'd like to go that route, you're welcome to do it. I'm not going to show it in this video or talk about it. Now, the last part that we have to click on is that I need to go under the OLA part. That means the online portion. So I'm going to click under here. And I have a couple settings that I can modify only in this window. So if I want to allow pauses where they can break in the middle of the test, I can turn that on. If I do not want to allow them to go backwards in the test, I can turn that on. Again, these are all choices that you can make depending on how you feel about your testing environment. This one is the one that I'm going to tell you to turn on, which is enable secure test lockout. This means you get that lockdown browser. Once you turn this on and they go into that test, they can no longer click on anything else on that computer at all. Nothing on the screen, not the taskbar, not a screenshot, not Teams, because if they do, they get locked out of the test. You'll be notified of it, and then you can allow them back in if you choose to, or you can say, hey, you were trying to cheat, no go for you. That's your call. But you have that ability now because of that option. All right. OLA impersonations, you don't need that unless you're going to go in and see what the test looks like, but I can show you where to do that anyway as soon as we get done here. Show student scores after submission. Again, I don't need to show that as well. And then you can have a password as well. So you could open the testing window, but lock it down with a password. So that way you can find your test easier. If you'd like to set that up, you're more than welcome to. In this case, I'm not. All right, so now that we've got all that done, you can see here all the things that are going to be available to them in the online testing environment. And none of these other options do we need to address. So at this point, we are done. We're going to make sure that we click save so that we lock all of this in. We should see a green check mark up here in the top left corner, which verifies that everything has been met to administer this test. It's ready to go. If you see that orange cone, you missed a step somewhere, go back and find it. All right, so now we can preview our test. So right here is where we can preview our test to see what the students will see when they come into this test. So I'm gonna click test preview. I'm gonna click OLA preview. All right, this is kind of what it looks like actually for the students when they go in to log in. When they click on Performance Matters in their class link, right? They'll find a little icon that says Performance Matters. It's a white little icon. It's got 3 little bars on it. When they click on that, they go immediately here. They don't have to do anything else. And it'll say test list. And any tests that they have available for any classes that they have will show up here. Okay, so this student only has one, or we're in the testing preview, so we're only going to see one. And they would come over here and they would click start. Now from here, it tells them a little bit of the stuff that they have, and then they can click next to go into it. This is going to pop open our start message, right? Our special instructions. So anything that you wanted to give them will show up here. It informs them that they're not allowed to leave the test or go into any other browser or anything else. So that lets them know that they're in that lockdown browser. We're going to go ahead and click start test. Once we do, this is what it will look like. They get that test on the left that we uploaded. That was the second time. And then they get their answer keys on the right. And so then they would read the question and then choose the one that would be the correct answer. So in this case, they would choose B and they would click next. It would swap the question to. You get the idea. Again, they have some tools here, flagging questions that they need to come back to, highlighter, clear remarks, and then any of the other tools that you turn on that we did not in this case. So when they were done, they would submit the test. They also can navigate it here to directly to that particular question. So once they're all done, they would submit, and you're a happy person. Lockdown environment, test online, no printing, no bubble sheets, super fast, super easy, just like I told you. Okay, couple last little bits. One is, how do you see the results once you're done? So once you're done, you're gonna come over here to the test and test center back in Performance Matters. So I'm gonna click down tests. I'm gonna go to test center. This is gonna show me all of the tests that I have made that's open currently. So remember when I said I left it open from today till next month? I can see that test right here. You can see exam demo. That's the one that we just made. It's here because it's open in the window. If you didn't, you would click this little box here that says limit, or uncheck the box that says limit to open test window. So if I do that, all of my tests appear. I can scroll for them. I can filter for them. But in my case, I have it open so I can see it here. If they had taken this test and they've finished or were partially finished, you could see the results right here. But since no one has taken it in terms of 0, I need to click up here and you can see the results of that particular test. So this is my wife's test. She's given it in her class. I'll blur out the names. But when this opens up, this is what you'll receive. So you'll get to see a nice little chart or page of charts and information of all the correct answers and the percentages and the points possible for every student that's taken that exam or test in this case. Okay. So there's one last little piece that I need to show you, which is the OLA Student Admin. And let's go take a look at that now. All right. So to get to the last piece, which is the OLA Student Admin, we're going to go up here into the top left corner and click Tests. So I click Tests. You'll see it says OLA Student Admin. I'm going to click on that now, and that's going to open up. And then we're going to have to select our test. Again, it should be one that's open on the date of that window. If it's not open, you won't see it here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that ITC demo, exam demo right here, and that's going to open this up. So this is where I get to assign it to different students, and that's probably the first thing that you should think about. So to assign it to a class or to assign it to your students, you're going to come here where it says filtered by class down in the middle. Now, this has been changed. We used to have to create our own filters, but you don't have to do that anymore. It's been updated. Hopefully you remember that. It should be attached to just the classes that you assign it to. So remember when our category, we said sociology only. Those are the only classes that I'm going to see here are ones that are marked by sociology. So if you have different classes that you need to give this to, if it's Algebra 1, if it's English 11, whatever it happens to be, when you select that, you'll find only the classes that you've been assigned to right there. So we can click either one of these. We'll click semester 1. It'll tell you how many students there are. You're going to want to verify that that list is correct. Sometimes students from second semester get in different places than they should be, or a student moved out that maybe isn't in your class anymore. So double check your list the first time just to verify. If you have 35 students and you have 35 here, give it a quick scan. And then you're going to go ahead and click in this box in the upper left-hand corner, and you're going to choose an action, and you're going to go ahead and say release the unassigned students to the OLA. That's going to give them the test. Right now they don't have the test, they can't see the test. But if I click this, you'll see that it's going to run through and it says assigned. Now they have access to that test, correct? So when they're taking their test, you can come up here into the right-hand corner and click Live Updates. This will tell you how their progress is going. I can't show you that because I don't have any students to take this, but if they submit it, if they're in progress, where they're at, it'll give you live information as they're doing it, which is what I recommend. Okay, from here, if you get a locked test, it'll tell you a number up here and it'll show you where it's at. You should be able to go down. You'll see this go from assigned to locked, and then you can click on that student if you have a conversation with them about not leaving that lockdown browser window, explain what that looks like, give them one more chance if you choose to, and then you can choose an action up here which say unlock the test. So you have a couple other options here. If they didn't finish the test but you know that they're done, you can submit it. You can turn it back into progress right here, which means that they somehow submitted but they didn't mean to, so you can give it back to them. So you have a couple options here to change the way that the test works, but everything's going to be run from this menu. But you can kind of see it's pretty straightforward. You go from unassigned to assigned to in progress, maybe locked, maybe unlocked. Once they've done that, they can submit it. And then you can put it back through those paces. And that's kind of everything. Once it's finished, you'll see all the finished tests and you'll know that you have 35 there. Hopefully that's the number that shows up and you'll be good to go. So in this video, we ran you through and showed you how quick and easy Performance Matters can be and how powerful it can be in an online testing environment. We showed you how to use the lockdown browser. We showed you how to create a new test, how to set it up, how to administer it, how to upload your answer key, how to upload your test itself, and we showed you how to set up all the properties and even where to find it at. So this was a nice quick video to show you how quick and easy Performance Matters can be for you in your exams and your tests. So I encourage you not to shy away from Performance Matters anymore. Use this because it's very powerful for you and it's very quick. And it can replace some of those other testing things that you're using now. So hopefully you learned a thing or two. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.